Hi guys, and welcome back to another video again with the Powers. I'm Jake, and today we are continuing with my little mini series of my top 5 most anticipated crowdfunding games of 2023, right? So hope you guys got to enjoy my number 5 Lobster Pot. So I'm very excited about that game. It's a very unique party game, and I cannot wait till it comes and show it off to you guys and tell you all about it, and hopefully crossing my fingers that will fill the niche that I'm hoping to do. But today, guys, we are moving on to game number 4. All right. So game number 4. This one is this is where we're gonna start a lot of the miniature games. Let's just say that, right? If you've been following this channel along for a while now, you know I always say, if you want me to buy your game or you want to entice me into buying your game, you got to give it a good theme, like a fighting theme, you know, like an apocalyptic Japanese type theme or something like that. And you got to give me some really good miniatures, right? And so as long as you have like a competitive game where I'm going to be battling like dudes on a map type feel with really great miniatures, I'll be interested in your game. But today, guys, taking a look at my number 4 most anticipated game of 2023. This is going to be Barbaric, all right? So let's go ahead and jump to the computer screen where I got the Kickstarter page pulled up. All right, guys, so here we are at the Kickstarter page of Barbaric. So Barbaric is a post-apocalyptic competitive board game where you're going to be choosing a rider and gear to build endless combos and survive against the gigantic monsters, okay? So you can see here there is 3 different boxes to the game with 3 different monsters, okay? Big baddies, all right? Barbaric is coming to you from Hexa House, guys. So let's go ahead and kind of dive into this page. Now, some parts I'm going to be skipping through and moving through this because this is a very lengthy page, but don't fret, I will give you as much information as I possibly can. So really cool, starting off free for all Kickstarter backers. You are going to get a metal atomic coin, okay, for the game that you can have. And so the atomic core is the heart of Barbaric, which will be made from zinc metal. All right, so this is something that you're trying to collect in the game itself. So they're giving you a metal coin version of it. All right. So this is Barbaric in a nutshell. You can see how it is, guys. They had a early bird 72-hour Kickstarter special. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll and skip past this because we're going to take an in-depth look and dive into all that stuff. And so taking a look at Barbaric, guys. Barbaric is a competitive miniature board game in which players assume the role of mutated animals known as the rider, riding unique craft ships known as the gear. Okay, each rider and gear have their own deck of cards, which has distinctive special powers from other decks. Players are going to combine riders and gear decks together to create their own play deck, which hold endless combinations and strategy. In each turn, players will take actions to move around the board, salvage for valuable resources, or play their cards to improve their rider or gear. Players will need to compete to retrieve the atomic core, which is located on the main board. However, players can't just snatch the core and escape. The core is guarded by the gigantic monster known as the Queen and her minions, which get stronger as the game progresses. The player who retrieves the core and moves out of the board will be declared the victor of Barbaric after the apocalypse, okay? So this is the core box number 1, right? So they had 2 core boxes and then an expansion box and then like your stretch goals box, all right? So you have the Barbaric After the Apocalypse core box number 1, okay? So this is what the game will look like. You have the giant monster miniature, the Queen, her little minions. You have the rider and the gear, the game board, and the monster board, and then the player boards as well, all right? So this is a 1 to 4 player game, 14 plus 40 to 90 minutes. Here's what's cool about Barbaric, though. Out of the 2 core boxes, well, each core box is going to have its own different mode of play, which is really cool. So taking a look at box number 1, After the Apocalypse, it says, Barbaric After the Apocalypse is a free-for-all game, right? We believe that everyone who likes competition will definitely like Barbaric. So if you are interested in a free-for-all game mode, definitely you will want to be backing or want to be playing this core box number 1, After the Apocalypse. So let's take a look at this core box and see what is in here, right? So taking a look at the riders and the gears, okay? So each rider is going to have their own board with a section cut out, right? Each gear is going to have a board with a section cut out, and you're basically going to combine these together and they're going to fill the slots. So you can see here, that this gear is going to latch in that spot, and then this rider is going to latch in that spot, and you're going to form one board from that. All right. So let's take a look at some of these riders and gears. So we have Celts the Vagabond. Each rider is going to specialize in certain skills, and so is the gear. So Celts is specializing in movement skills and range group attacks. All right. And his gear, the Megalodon, the Tide Master, is going to be specializing in counterattacks and surprise movement. Now, I did say his, okay? These gears are not necessarily tied to the rider, right? So Celts doesn't have to use the Megalodon every time you want to be played, right? The beauty of this game is you get to mix and match the riders with all the different gears. They just happen to pair them up on this Kickstarter page, okay? So taking a look at the next rider, we have Pia Amber, the Mercenary, who specializes in long-range attacks and hand control. The next gear we have is Maida, the Golden Throne, specializing in searching skills and retrieving a card. All right. The next rider and gear we have Kira the Assassin, specializing in evasive skills and strongest during the night phase of the game. And the gear, Gembu the Immortal Shield, specializing in recovery skills and movement control. All right. The last rider and gear that we have, guys, is Theodore the Constable, specializing in high health and melee group attack. And then the gear is Moby Dick the Ocean Guard, specializing in regeneration skill and attack range combat, okay? So those are all the rider and gears that will come in core box number 1. The monster that you will be fighting is the Komagon, the gigantic lizard. So Komagon, the lizard queen, has absorbed excess radiation until her body evolved abnormally and spawned her minions rapidly. If no one stops her, the world will truly end soon, all right? So the queen is going to have her own giant monster board with phases, health, and different abilities and things like that. She will also have her own deck of cards and, of course, a giant miniature. Excuse me. As well, she will have some minions that she will spawn off on the board to try and antagonize you. On top of all that, guys, you'll get a giant game board, you'll get some event cards, a bunch of tokens, you get 2 dice and monster dice and some resource dice. You'll get some cubes and crystal markers, you'll get resource meeples, and you will get the rule book on top of that. All right, so that is everything in core box number 1. So let's take a look at core box number 2. This one is called Into the Lost Jungle, all right? So in core box number 2, Into the Lost Jungle, this is a team versus team game mode, all right? If it is combined with part 1, the maximum player count will increase to 6 players, and often even more combos between gears and riders, all right? So you can have, if you combine this with the box number 1, right? You can play box number 1, the free-for-all mode with 6 players, or you can play this team game if you do Into the Lost Jungle with characters from the core box number 1 and have like 2v2 or 3v3, all right? However you choose. So let's take a look at some of these riders and gears that come in this core box, right? So we have Halsey the Pirate, specializing in bounce attacks and plunder resources. We have Chonchu, the Frog, specializing in hook skills and continuous movement, all right? The next rider and gear we have is Techno the Hermit, specializing in healing skills and collecting attack power. And the gear is Karkanos the Dreaddaw, specializing in pulling skills and lethal attacks, all right? The next rider and gear is we have Lilith the Vampire, who is specializing in draining skill and target detection. And the gear is Solaris the Dawnbreaker, specializing in area control and strongest during the day phase, all right? The last rider and gear we have is Pulnik the Bard, specializing in support skills and minion control. And the gear is Thornmail the Death Stinger, specializing in reactive attacks and damage over time. All right, so those are all the rider and the gears in the second core box, as well as the monster is now the Morazan the Ancient Keeper, okay, which is a giant electric eel monster, okay? And it's kind of the same thing. They had, you know, radiation and they just grew. So there's their board, the miniature, the cards, and this queen's minions, right? As well as that, you'll also get a jungle game board specifically, and you will get tokens and things like that. Same thing, just like the original core box from the first one. All right. The next box, guys, we have is the Challenger expansion, right? This requires at least one core box to play and will increase the maximum player count to 6 people and again give you more combos and things like that. So there's only 2 sets of riders and gears here. So we have Eleanor the Perfumer, specializing in mind control and damage boosting, and Neptune, specializing in high defense and man management. Neptune the Onyx Vault, right? Specializing in high defense and hand management. So that is the gear there. And the last rider in gear, we have Alfredo the Archer, specializing in curved range attacks and flexible skills. And then the gear is Gemini the Chariot, specializing in pushing skills and event control, okay? The other components are just going to be tokens, player aid cards, and a rulebook, all right? The last box that we have, guys, is the Heart of the Grand Canyon. So this is free for the Gameplay Collector Pledge, all right? And so I believe that's the only way you can get this one. So the Heart of the Grand Canyon is a team versus team game mode as well as a full co-op mode, all right? So if it is combined with part 1 or 2, the maximum player count will increase to 6 players, allowing you to do 3v3 in the team game mode and offer even more combos between gears and riders, all right? The stretch goals unlocked a lot of these characters, so I'm going to go ahead and go over those characters as we progress through the campaign, all right? But the production, so you take a look at these miniature scales, you can see the monster is massive compared to the rider, the gear, and the other minions, all right? And then let's kind of take a look at how to play the game. So as you see here, you're going to choose your rider and gear. So players will assume the role of the rider and gear and create synergistic action decks and endless combo possibilities. So you'll push them against the boards together to create one board, and then you'll stack your rider on the gear and click them in there, and like that's just so cool to me that they have that mechanic. All right, you'll then be able to explore and exploit. So each of your turns, you will take actions to either move around the board or search for resources to improve your rider and gear. All right, you will then use these resources and to learn skills and then activate skills to gain experience to make your character stronger. And then once you do this, you will attack your enemy, right? So you will use these skills to attack enemies, and if you can eliminate other players for a total of 2 times, you will win the game immediately, all right? You also have another win condition, which is another smart choice. If you can lure the monster to steal the atomic core and then escape from the map, you will win the game instantly as well, all right? So that is basically how you play the game in a nutshell. So let's take a look at the stretch goals that we have down here, guys, which will go over some of those other characters from that box, right? So we have an insert tray, we have upgraded cards, upgraded dice. So one of the characters in that box is Richie the Mechanic, all right? Upgraded player boards, upgraded box, a new character, new gear, Raiden the Shield Breaker. All right, we have upgraded resources with screen print on those, more art cards, added a new rider, okay, Aron the Martial Artist. Aron promo, we have a solo mode for part 1, solo mode for part 2. We added a new gear, Amanda the Mesmer, all right. We have an Amanda promo cards. We have the reward box for the collecting rewards obtained from that, all right. We have new competition, so added a new map for the 3v3 competition. We have the co-op module that came out, right? And then we have the new monster that is Hornetia, the Queen of Grand Canyon, all right? Then we got the solo mode for the reward box, all right? The minions for that lady. We have a new rider, Barbara the Mafia, all right? In her promo, we got a standalone for the reward box. We have a new gear, Nemesis the Ugly Duckling, all right? We got Mega Minions, so a new module which will increase the difficulty of the minions. And then the one of the last gears that we have is Kraken the Metal Tentacle. And then the last thing we unlocked was the book and the atomic coin for everybody, all right? As well as the backer's choice. The backers got to choose a new rider, and we have chosen the Peacock, which is Jay Fang, all right? All right, so let me go ahead and go over the pledge tier. So you could just get the core box number 1 for $119 US, which would give you a promo pack. You could do the same thing and just get the core box number 2, whichever one game mode you did that you felt better for, free-for-all or team mode, okay? For $299, you could get the all-in, the whole gameplay, which would be the core box number 1, 2, the expansion, and you get the free Kickstarter exclusive Goal of the Grand Canyon stretch goals box, right? The expansion box. All right, and then the last thing they had was the collector set, which would give you all of the gameplay stuff. You will get a play mat for every single box and every single map. All right, you'll get a sleeves bundle, you'll get promo cards, card holders, and all stretch goals, and the monster promo pack, which is not for sale. All right, some of the add-ons, you could add on the expansion, the Barbaric Challenger expansion for $89, art sleeves bundle for $35, neoprene prey mat for $39, the promo card bundle for $39, and the card holders for $29. All right, so those are all the pledges that you could get if you wanted to back Barbaric. All right, so this is Barbaric in a nutshell. All right, so why am I excited about this game? Well, number one, guys, the theme here is, I think it's just a very unique theme, right? And it's definitely something right up my alley, that post-apocalyptic type theme, right? What's really cool here, though, for me, is that they decided to use animals instead of using just humans. I think more than likely, a lot of people would typically lean towards maybe humans having like an apocalyptic world where you're trying to battle these monsters, but there's also a lot of big miniature games like that, right? Nemesis. You have the other board game and things like that. So for me, what really drew me to the game was that you had all these animals in the game instead of just generic humans or something like that. And so, you know, it's kind of cool because I can have a Theodore the Pitbull riding on a Megalodon, right? So you can mix and match and kind of do all that stuff. So that's kind of the first reason that drew me to the game. The second thing is the miniatures, right? The miniatures and the production of everything in this game is just fantastic. It looks so beautiful. I can't wait to get these riders and, you know, putting them on top of the gears and attaching them and all that stuff. That is just amazing to me. And then the last thing, excuse me guys, I'm losing my voice here. The last thing is just the different game modes, right? So I get a free-for-all mode, I get a team versus team mode, I get a cooperative mode. So there's many different ways to play the game. And so in each different scenario that I have friends over or just me and Sierra, we can try the different modes and see which one that we really like. So that's what really drew me to the game as well, because just looking at the game as a whole, again, it's a lot. There's a lot going on here. And so I'm not really sure how much this would get to the table if it was just, say, like a free-for-all mode, right? I don't know how Sierra would enjoy that. Sierra is typically not the biggest fan of these big, huge dudes on a map, you know, miniature games. And so I think having the different game modes is going to help that a little bit with some of our friends that we play that like this game, that we can do like the team game mode, you know, 2v2, 3v3, whatever, or we can do the free-for-all. But then we also have a cooperative mode to kind of fall back on if we need to. So that, all that stuff, as well as the mechanics of the game, right? I think it's so cool where you're combining the boards together, these separate boards, to make one giant board, combining the decks together, you know, again, sticking your rider on top of that piece and like seeing them riding whatever they are, you know, riding a whale around or a turtle or a megalodon around. Again, it just looks so cool, and it's just very exciting. But yeah, so the game, it was set to come out in June of 2023, or not come out, it's supposed to be fulfilled in June of 2023. As exciting as that would be, they unfortunately are not going to be able to make that deadline, but they have started mold production in their most recent update. And so they have said that their new timeline is somewhere they're expecting to fulfill in October, okay? But this is Barbaric. I went ahead and pledged I did, what was it? The collector set early bird, the all-in, right? So I'm getting all of the expansions, all of the content, the play mats, the bundles, the sleeve things, everything, right? Again, for me, yes, that was very expensive, but again, I didn't want to just try one thing, because what I wanted to see is the different game modes and how they would work with me and Sierra and our play group. And also, because of how the production of this game is and the quality that you're getting, I do feel that this game has the potential to take off in a very competitive setting, right? I can see this this a game being played with tournaments, having a lot of tournaments, having, you know, a world championship for this game. If it does take off, I can see the potential for that happening. If that's the case and I do not end up liking the game and it doesn't really get to the table, I feel at that point in time I can sell this and really get my money back. You know what I'm saying? In the first couple months, right? The first couple months we get the game, we're definitely going to try it out. If it's a meh, then I feel like I can definitely get my value back for what I paid for it, all right? But again, guys, this is Barbaric, set to be fulfilling in October, so cannot wait to get this game, show these miniatures off to you guys, and show you the game itself and how it actually plays. So that is my number 4 most anticipated crowdfunding game of 2023, Barbaric. Barbaric, coming to you from Hexa House. All right, everyone, if you have not already, please hit that notification bell so you can keep getting notified when new content drops. Please give this video a like, guys, and go ahead and subscribe if you are not subscribed to the channel. Before I end, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a little teaser and put my number 3 most anticipated game, the silhouette thumbnail of that game right here. And I've even tried to help you out, some guys, and put a background, a hint of background of what this game actually is. So if you can figure that out, go ahead and drop it in the comments below what you think number 3 is. But stay tuned for number 3 video that will be coming out on Wednesday. All right, guys, y'all have a great one. Bye.